There was a time you wanted to jump from the top floor. What happened actually?
It was a very triggering experience for me where I got abused. It's a physical abuse what I had at that time, and I couldn't take it. And I felt like just leaving would be the best decision in the world.
You decided mentally that you'd jump from the top floor.
I was like hesitant at that
Okay.
time. I did not decide to jump.
But you were thinking, you felt like jumping. That's the feeling.
That's the
Somebody
feeling.
abused you. It's not your fault.
Yes.
And you felt like leaving this world.
Exactly. That's the point of time where I did not love myself. It's wrong thing to do. But then there's this kind of force, which is the negativity force that's too strong, that's pushing me. And I felt like I can't take it anymore. I just want this to end. In my mind, I know it's haram, it's bad. You're
Yes,
going to
yes.
hell for sure. So when I heard that voice, I'm like, oh my God, that is so bad. So then I did a salat, which is a taubat salat, to ask God for forgiveness. And at that time was the first time ever in my life that I felt so close to God.
Today's episode is brought to you by Maverick, the ultimate AI-powered platform for customer support and engagement. With Maverick, you can manage all your customer conversations from one place, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, Messenger, email, or more. Boost your customer experience with Maverick AI today. Do you believe that it's done by you or is
Of
done
course,
by
of
some
course.
supernatural power?
Of course, I took the action to do,
Yes.
and with my faith and belief to Allah,
Yes.
helped me to reach the inner peace that I had at that time, and that saved my life.
There are so many other women in this world, they may think the same way when they're abused.
Exactly. I've been there. And it's so hard to get out of that. Psychological speaking, when a person has been abused on a daily basis, every day, have been fed with negative thoughts, it could change you as a person. It could switch your mind from positive to negative. And all the positivity in your mind would be gone. All you can think of is the negative stuff, and you start blaming yourself. You start have a very bad insecurity. And then you don't love yourself most of all. But because you did not pour all the water in your glass, you pour the water in other people's glass. So you
Correct.
are empty in this case. So
Yes.
when you're empty, where's the positivity? You cannot feed yourself with positivity when the
Exactly.
glass is empty.
Yes, yes.
Right? So when I had to go through this journey before, I felt like maybe he will be happier without me. Maybe he will stop all this when I'm not here. Because
Right.
I was blaming myself. Maybe he's like that because of me. You know?
So what would be your advice to other women on that? If they feel like you, jumping from the top floor and take away their life, what should they do?
It's very different in how that person mental state is.
Yes.
And I also know that there's a lot of people, religiously speaking, who know if you have very severe depression, because you don't pray, you haven't talked to God enough. Of course, you need to go into that spiritual way and talk to your God and believe in it and have faith in it. Of course,
Yes.
you have to do that. But there's also a part where you have to do for yourself. You can't just, oh God, please help me, and you're not doing anything. It's not going to help. It's not going to come to you. So you yourself have to do something. For example, you are going through a depression episodes. Try to find something that for you to cope, like a defense mechanism. For example, for me, if I'm feeling super stressed, I'm feeling depressed, I like self-isolation. As much as how people say self-isolation is not good, I enjoyed my time alone without anybody around me. So it's a simple thing. I would change my clothes, go to gym, get that adrenaline coming
Yes.
to let go of the anger and the hate, because you have so much negativity, you need to sweat it out. So after that, I would go to a coffee shop, I would go shopping, I would go do everything myself, or just order Food Panda, sit in front of my TV and just binge watch my anime for the whole day. And then the next day I will be better. The most important thing is that you should love yourself, and all those good things come.
So you didn't love yourself earlier?
I would say I did not love myself enough.
So can you take us back to that time when you didn't love yourself?
Okay, that time when I did not love myself, I attracted a lot of negative people, environment, and for some reason I fall into negative traps the whole time. And after all this, I started to think, what went wrong? I say yes to everybody.
Yes.
I follow everybody, what they want and all this. Why do I end up in this position? So I
Exactly.
started watching a lot of YouTube videos. I started watching hypnosis as well. I know you
My
do
part.
hypnosis, your strength. I tried to hypnosis myself with a YouTube.
Self-hypnosis.
Self-hypnosis. I just started to lay down on the bed and just listen to the hypnosis. And I just feel lifted. And I don't know, for some reason, in a spiritual way, I just felt like I hear myself.
You see, when did you learn to say no?
When did I learn to say no? I would say maybe 2-3 years back when I met my husband.
Yes.
He would fill my brain up with philosophical, spiritual, and all this. So the way it works is he would keep asking me questions.
Wow.
When he asks questions, you start to think.
Right.
So when he asked me the question, I start to realize something that is so obvious that I don't even know that it's there, but it is there.
Wonderful.
For example, he would always tell me, live in the presence. It's so easy to say live in the presence, but I am sad now. So what? How can I live in the presence? You know what I mean?
Right.
And he would tell me that there is nothing sadder than now, worse than now, or happier than now, he said. So when you go through now, just think about what happened now. When it happens later, you deal with it at that point of time.
Right, right.
When I start to think that way, I'm like, oh my God, I stopped thinking about the future because first, I cannot control the future.
Yes.
And I can't blame the past because it already happened.
Right.
The only thing I can do now is to focus on the present, whether I'm sad, angry, hate somebody. I have to deal with it right now. So
So he changed your life, entire
he
life.
changed my mindset.
Mindset.
Yes.
So it's all about mindset.
That is correct. It's all about mindset.
How did you meet him and everything? So
Okay.
inspiring.
So I met him in a birthday party. So it's a mutual friend. He came up to me and asked for my Instagram. So we started talking to each other on Instagram, and we met again in another birthday party. That was during around COVID time. And then we just became best friends, and we were never a couple, never a boyfriend, never a girlfriend. And one day we somehow confessed to each other. I think I confessed. I said, you are a good looking guy and you're successful and you're Muslim. You would be quite a good husband for me. So that's what I told him. And then he said to me, actually, you're going to be a good wife for me as well. So it's like an unspoken thing. So we never spoke about it after that. So we still became friends. And one day I took him back to my hometown, and my dad saw a white, like a Westerner. Then my dad was like, why is this my daughter bringing this guy home? And then this white guy said, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And my dad was like, Islam. So my dad was like, Walaikum salam, masuk, masuk. That's what my husband. Okay. And then after a few conversations with him, my dad was saying, I really like him. Do you want to get engaged? And then in my mind, we did not have that in mind at that time. So I was like, okay, my dad gave me the blessing. What else I need?
Yes.
There. So my dad said, let's do it next month.
He approved instantly.
He said, lock this guy.
Don't want to miss it.
Exactly, lock it. So 1 month after that, we got engaged. He couldn't have his family over. But in our culture, there's a few ceremony. First, we call it marise. Marise is where the guy would come to the girl's parents' house and
Right.
to ask if I can marry her. And I'm from Negeri Sembilan, so he has to provide me with 3 rings.
3 rings.
3 rings. That's the culture in my state, Negeri Sembilan. And so he has to provide me with 1 ring from Marise, 1 tunang, and 1 more is for the nikah. Alhamdulillah, it's so amazing. And
Alhamdulillah,
it's been
yes.
4 years now.
4 years.
Yes.
That's great.
Yes.
How long did it take? To knowing him and to get married?
After we got engaged, we would like to get married fast. But then there was a bit of a challenge considering it was COVID at that time. We couldn't send the
Right.
physical copy to Syria. And so it took a long time. 1 year after, we got married.
Wow.
Yes.
You are so bold that you proposed him.
Yes, I would say so. I would say I'm honest.
We sometimes feel we should not propose him or propose her. We are confused. Since you, being a woman, proposed him, what would be your advice to other women? If they like somebody, should they propose or not?
Okay, so I understand in the perspective where women's dream, I would like my boyfriend to propose to me. I don't want to be the one who said it first. Completely understand. I am like that too. But then I also want to protect myself in a
Yes.
way that if I know this earlier stage, then no time wasted, no energy, no money wasted in this case. I said that to protect myself and to also get myself prepared. that does not necessarily mean proposal. I still make him propose to me.
Right.
Yes. So it's just how you communicate with your partner. I would say, as a woman, if you want your partner to propose first, I think you should not wait because your partner cannot read your mind.
Yes,
You should
yes.
hint him or at least tell him, hey, I think we should move further. But
How to hint?
it really depends on individual. Or
Okay.
you can just be honest and
Any
say,
tips from your side?
okay, if I was at that position, I would say, okay, hey, baby, babe, sayang, whatever. I like you and I know you like me and I know we love each other. I would like to move forward.
Move forward.
And if you agree, I would like to have a proposal. If your partner is someone who's not romantic, you should tell him that I want 1, 2, 3, and believe me, your partner will do it, and he will appreciate that you tell him that instead of he does something thinking, oh my God, what does she want? When I do this, and at the end, you're not happy. What kind of goal do you achieve at the end?
Could you please tell us something about your corporate life?
That's a very interesting journey.
Yes.
Corporate, it's a very complicated world, corporate. And then one day, my big sister told me that, hey, there's a cabin crew interview.
Wow.
And she just said this to me. She said, if you're really so good and you're beautiful, go to the interview and prove to me that you can get it.
Yes.
So at that time, I was working as a writer and also a PR, basically. And one day I went to the office not knowing that day was my last day. So I went to the office. I was like, you know what, let me just check my personal email. And I saw that I got an email from that airline. And I'm like, oh my God, the sign-in day is going to be tomorrow. And so I went into my boss' office. I said, Mister, so this is what I got, the email from this airline. Tomorrow is the day that I have to go. So he asked me one question, do you want to fly? And I said, pretty much. He was like, what can I help you with? I said, I don't know. What can I do? And he was like, okay, I will prepare you all the documents so that you can exit today. So you just have to go to all these different departments, get a signature from the head, and you will be released by today. Go and chase your dream. Mr. Said, he was one of the best boss that I've had and who always have seen my potential and talents. And at that time, I was really young.
How long did you work there?
I only worked there for 2 months.
Only 2 months.
Only 2 months.
And suddenly you got the email.
Exactly.
That you need to leave.
Exactly. And at that time, I was already
So
working.
unpredictable. So unpredictable.
Exactly. And I think this is my personality where things come, I just grab it and do it and think about it later. So after I left the company that I was being a writer in,
Yes.
and I went to be a cabin crew for 2 years.
2 years.
Yes. That was during COVID. And then I resigned because at that time it was really tough in the sense where cabin crew doesn't get paid much as a basic. But we got our allowances from flying, from commissions, selling duty free. That's where the money at. But if I don't fly, I can barely make a living. So I resigned and I started to come back to corporate. But again, in corporate world, it's, to me, I think being a girl in a corporate world is not an easy thing. The stereotypes, the verbal sexual harassment, I've seen it everywhere I go. And at point of times, I started to self-questioning myself, my ability, and all this kind of thing. And over the period of time, I started to feel like I am giving part of me to my job and not giving part of that to myself and to my family. So it took a big toll on my mental health. And I have been wanting to start my own business, and I've been working on that for the past 2 years. And why haven't I started? And I've been bringing in lots of money for the company that I work for. So in my mind, if I can bring that much money to a company, why can't I do that for myself?
Right. Right.
So that's when I think, okay, you know what? I have to make a bold move. I have to change myself completely, change direction. So that's when I started to just launch my own product, which is Pedas.
Pedas.
Yes, it's a sambal. So
What is sambal?
sambal is a Malay word
Yeah.
that represents, I would say, a chili paste. It's a paste where you can eat it just like that, and you can cook with it.
With food or without
Oh yeah,
food?
with food. I always do it as a dipping to eat it just like that. Or when you're lazy and you can just throw in my sambal and put some protein and you make something out
So
of
what
it.
inspired you to start this sambal?
My mom. My mom is an extremely good cook. I grew up with nasi, rice, and sambal all the time. So let's try to make something. So we developed recipes over the past 2 years, do R&D, and try to see the perfect taste that I can remember from my hometown. So it's not my mom recipe, but it's inspired by my mom.
Okay, inspired.
Yes, yes. When I was from Chinese school back then when I was younger, and I grew up with Chinese. All of my friends in Bahau were all Chinese, and I didn't have a single Malay friend. The only Malay I have is my family. Combining that Chinese taste and my Malay roots together, that's how Pedas came out.
Mixed personality.
Yes.
It has a personality, like
Yes.
you, like bold and radiant.
Yes, so these are all my passion.
You are an inspiring creator,
Thank you.
a singer. Can you sing a little bit?
Sure.
Any song you
Okay.
sing.
Saya suka pedas. I like pedas.
Saya suka pedas.
Saya suka pedas.
I like pedas.
Yes, yes.
So Rhainna,
Yes.
I'm sure many will be inspired today by your story.
Thank you.
What
Thank you.
inspired you to come to Wise Old Talks and talk about your life?
Well, I saw Bustle Talks on YouTube, and when I saw it, I felt like it's such an inspirational or very motivational centric kind of YouTube channel. I have always wanted to be in a motivational podcast. That has
Right.
been one of the checklists that I wanted to tick. And then I got to know that it's Malaysia-based as
Yes,
well from a
yes.
friend. And then a friend of mine sent me a Google form. So
Okay.
they sent to me and say, if you want to be one of the speakers, because I know how your life is and would be interesting to share your story.
Yes, yes,
so that's
yes.
when I applied. And then after that, Mr. Palash texted me on WhatsApp.
So what are the
And-
unique things you have found here?
It has so much knowledge in it that you could learn from different people. And the people that you invited are people of value and good experience. And it's not easy as an individual to get to hear these stories. Like if you don't go to a certain occasion or an event, you will not be able to meet such people.
Right, right.
But then now you're bringing these people to your channel and you make it public for everybody to learn from them, which is really amazing.
So Rhainna, terima kasih.
Dhanyabad, yes.
Dhanyawad.
Dhanyabad.